G'day there. If your finances are something of a mess and you know you need to do something about it, but you have no idea where to start, what to do, or how to do it, then this video is absolutely for you, because in this video, I'm going to take you through the starting point that I use with all of my clients to help them take control of their finances, get out of debt, consistently save more money, and get started in investing. And it all starts at one place, and I'm going to share that with you now. G'day there, my name is Phil McGilvray. I'm a financial coach, financial well-being consultant, and founder of the Money Boss movement, where we make practical, life-changing financial education both understandable and accessible for everyday people. And today, in this video, we are looking at the age-old question of, I know I need to do something to get my finances sorted, but I have no idea where to start. So what I'm going to do is take you through, firstly, my roadmap to financial freedom. This is the roadmap, or my roadmap to financial peace, I also call it. This is the roadmap that I use to help all of my clients understand, well, where am I at financially? Where do I want to be financially? And what are the steps that I need to take to move from one step to the next step, to the next step, to the next step. So let's have a look at that now. I will bring that up on the screen. I want to give this to you to give you a big picture overview so that you understand very clearly what is the place we need to start. Okay, I always think about my clients' finances like a cascade. Water flowing into a mountaintop, or rain coming down a mountaintop that forms streams. Those streams come to a pool. That pool fills up and then ultimately overflows in a waterfall down into the subsequent pool. This is a way that we need to think about our finances, to think about the income coming into our life like water in this cascade. Our first goal is to make sure that we have more income coming in than expenses going out, so that we have surplus cash flow, which is the water in our cascade. So if you think about your income comes into your transaction account. In your transaction account, you spend it. Now, of course, if we have more money coming out of this transaction account in expenses than we're putting it in income, that account will never fill up. And if that account doesn't fill up, then we're never going to have money for savings. We're never going to have money to pay off debt. We're never going to have money to achieve life goals or to get started investing. So these are the pools that are further down our cascade. So our first goal is to make sure that we have more income coming in than expenses going out, so that we can be very, very clear that our account is going to fill up, and then it's going to overflow, so that we can take money so we've got enough money to cover our known expenses, so that we've got enough money to cover our unknown expenses, so that we've got money to pay off our high interest lifestyle debt, so that we've got money to build more of a cash reserve for big life events, so that we've got money to get started achieving our lifestyle goals, so that we've got money to get started investing, so we've got money to give, and so that we can teach our kids the process so they can do it themselves. That's what the roadmap is all about. So the question, of course, is, well, where do I start? And of course, up here, we need to solve the cash flow problem, because this first pool here is our transaction account. This is where we pay for all our known expenses. So if we've got less income coming in than we need to cover all of those expenses, then that pool is never going to fill up, which means that there's never going to be water that flows down into all these other things. Very often I see people who are trying to put money into savings, or trying to pay money off debt, or trying to get started investing before they even got the basics right. And this often this shows up when we're putting money into savings, but then by halfway through the month, we're having to pull it back out again because we've got expenses to cover. And that can be a very, very frustrating place to be. It also shows up for people who have credit card or personal debts, and they're throwing money off their credit card debts whenever they've got any spare money. But then when something comes up, some unexpected expense comes up, they've got no choice but to put it back on the credit card. So if you've experienced either of those two very, very frustrating cycles, then the problem is we're not getting the start right. Our number one step to take control of our finances has to be, is my income greater than my expenses? And the only way you're going to know this is if you have a comprehensive understanding of what all of your expenses are. I regularly have clients coming to see me to ask, well, Phil, we'd like to buy a house. How do we go about doing that? Or we're looking at a house, but we don't know if we can afford it. Or we want to be able to start a family. Or we want to take the family overseas. Or Phil, I want to get started in investing. And we look at all those things, and without some understanding of what their cash flow is, understanding how much surplus money have they got, we have no idea what's achievable and what's not. So our first goal is to get clarity on your cash flow and to put yourself in a situation where your income is greater than your expenses, so that we have surplus cash flow, so that we can start to fill up each of our pools. So I'll just bring it up now. This is what I call my financial universe spreadsheet. If we go, we're on the first page here. What we want to do is use this to get a comprehensive understanding of what all of our expenses really are. Now, I regularly have people that will sit down and say to me, oh, Phil, I know what my expenses are. And they will tell me about what they're paying in their utilities. So their gas, their electricity. They'll tell me what they're paying in their rent or their mortgage. They'll tell me what they're paying in their insurances and car registration. But these aren't the expenses that we typically overspend on. It's things like our groceries, our eating out, our entertainment, our gifts, our clothes, our cosmetics, our sports, our hobbies, kids' activities. These are the areas that we typically overspend. So what we want to do once and for all is get a comprehensive list of what are all our expenses. Now, I understand that this can be a little bit scary. But I often tell people, in fact, I had a client just this morning in New Zealand who was talking about this very thing, the fear of finding out where she really stands. And I said to her, the problem is that in the absence of facts, our brain will always err to the side of fear. And then we start to catastrophize because we think the situation is a lot worse than it really is. By taking the time, having the courage to work out, well, where do I really stand? What are my expenses in reality? You can then put yourself in a position where you can go, okay, now I know where I stand, and now I can do something about it. Rather than stressing about it with all these fears of the world falling apart because your finances are a mess, we can actually put some concrete numbers to it so that you know exactly where you stand. And if we look at the example on the left-hand side here, we've got Brooke, who's earning $6,000 a month. We've got Joe, who's earning $7,000 a month. We can pop those numbers in there. And then what we've done is we've identified, well, what are all their expenses? How much are their expenses across the course of the year? And then bring that back to a monthly figure. How much should we put aside each month so that when those expenses turn up, I have the money sitting there ready to go. Now, the beauty of this, of managing your money this way, is that no one month is responsible for any one expense. So Christmas, we've just had Christmas, a really good example of this. Let's just say that you spend, keep the math simple, $1,200 on Christmas gifts. Rather than trying to find that $1,200 in December to cover the Christmas gifts, we've been saving $100 per month all year so that when we get to Christmas, the money is just there ready to go. That is the point of managing our money that way. And if we can break down, here's my income, here's what I need to allocate to all my expenses, we can get an apples to apples comparison between what am I earning per month and what are my expenses per month. Now we can see in this situation that we've got a deficit of $1,419, and that is okay. This is where most of my clients start, with a red figure. At least we know, and now we can do something about it. And what we can now do is go, okay, what are we going to do about it? Have we got the capacity to increase our income? Have we got the capacity to decrease our expenses? This is so crucial. This is such an important first step in your process of taking control of your finances, because we want to get to a place where we do have surplus income so that we can start to see water cascading through our different pools. I'll come to the personal expenses page. So this is this spreadsheet here. Like, so this is your, if you want a copy of this, you can grab a copy of this, and I'll tell you how to do that in just a moment. But if we have a look here, you can pop your income in up here. And then as you fill in this spreadsheet here, so let me come down to, actually, I'll show you this first. You can see that we've got $433 for every day. We've got $166 for utilities. We've got $50 for communications because that's all we've filled in so far. If I come, let's say we go to car transport, and I come down to your personal expenses, I find the car jar, there we go. And let's say your registration is $1,000 for the year. I can put in $1,000 here. It turns it into a monthly figure of $833. That shows up here as an expense of $833. And as we go, we can see our surplus down the bottom here. Of course, as we add a whole bunch more expenses, that surplus is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. But the goal is that by the time we've actually entered all our expenses, hopefully that is still green. Again, if it's not, if it's red like Brooke and Joe's over here, we then, at least we know, and we can do something about it. Now, I'm hoping that this makes a whole lot of sense, because this is the place that I've been financial coaching for over 30 years. This is a place you have to start. Now, I understand that this can be a little bit scary. It can be a little bit confronting, but I promise you that when you do it, it will completely change your perspective on where you're at financially. The words that I hear from clients that have been through this process, and again, this is literally thousands and thousands of people, are things like empowering, liberating, freeing, therapeutic, cathartic. Because once we've been there, it's like, I am no longer stressing about the unknown. I now have the numbers in front of me, and I now have taken back the power, and I can do something about this. So this is the place to start. If your finances are a mess and you need to take control, you need to do something about it, down in the description below, there is a link to this spreadsheet and a training that goes with it. Please grab a copy of that and get started going through this, because this is going to help you understand, what do I need to do next? The cascade does not work unless we have surplus cash flow. Unless we're in a situation we've got more income coming in than expenses going out, so that our first pool, our transaction account, fills up. Now, the second step in this process is to have some kind of budget to manage your money on a monthly basis, so that you can clearly identify, well, how much do I need to have in my transaction account so that I've got my known expenses covered as they turn up. That way we can say, okay, this is how much I need. And actually, I've got more in there than I need, so I can take the extra out and I can move that down to the next step in the process. Getting ahead financially is all about giving every dollar a purpose. So before you even earned it, you know where that money's going to go. If your first account, your operating account, your transaction account is full, you've got enough money there to cover your known expenses, your budget will tell you that, then we can take any extra away and then start having that flow through all the other pools in your cascade. So if this has been helpful, please click the like button and please subscribe, because every week I release videos with practical, life-changing financial education. I truly believe, and I have seen this over 30 years of financial coaching and advising, that little habits, small habits, simple habits can literally make $1 million difference to your future. So please click the like button, please subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Oh, and if you want a copy of the spreadsheet, go down to the description and you will see a link for it down there. Take care. Talk to you soon.